It's time to sit back, relax, and listen to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life will inspire, motivate, and empower you. Live your best life now. Listen, learn, think, and decide. Change your attitude, change your life. And now, here's your host, Joan Herman.
Welcome to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. You're listening to us in your neighborhood from coast to coast and around the world. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Joan Herman, author, speaker, and your host. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life brings you interviews with some of the most inspirational and influential people in the world. It's our goal to educate and empower you so you can live your best life now. Thank you for taking time for yourself, and thank you for letting us be a part of your life. We have another great show for you today. Joining me is Dr. Joe Dispenza, who's here to discuss the practical applications of the placebo effect so we can learn to use our expectation of a particular outcome to alter our internal state and external reality. Dr. Dispenza is the author of the new book, You Are the Placebo, Making Your Mind Matter. He lectures about the functions of the human brain and teaches people how to reprogram their thinking. Welcome, Dr. Dispenza. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh, thank you, Joan. I'm happy to be with you.
Dr. Dispenza, most of us have at one time or another heard of the placebo effect, and it's usually in relationship to a drug study. What does the placebo effect actually mean?
Well, if you give someone a sugar pill, a saline injection, or perform some type of fake procedure, a certain percentage of those people will accept, believe, and surrender that they're actually getting the real treatment without any analysis. And those people will begin to make their own pharmacy of chemicals that match the exact chemical or treatment that they think they're taking, and their body will heal by thought alone. So my thought was, once you understand the science of how the placebo works, if you can begin to demystify it and you can see what's happening in the brain, you can understand the new science of neuroplasticity and epigenetics, is it possible then that to take away that external substance and teach people to heal by the same principles, by thought alone, and begin to make their own internal changes instead of relying on something outside of them?
So, Dr. Joe, what is it that's actually happening in the brain? I heard someone tell me a story that cancer patients who were given saline, believing that they were being given chemotherapy, actually started to exhibit chemo side effects. They lost their hair, they were nauseous, they literally made themselves sick without having one drop of chemo. And I think this is fascinating. So what is actually occurring within the brain?
Well, there's also what's called the nocebo, which is when you give someone an inert substance, Joan, like, say, chemotherapy. If you begin to accept the particular suggestion, the thought, that you'll get side effects from that placebo. And what's happening in your brain is you begin to select an image in your mind, an image in your mind based on a past experience. And if you can accept that thought, the frontal lobe creates a picture. And if you accept that thought and you begin to emotionally embrace or think about how it's going to feel, your limbic brain begins to make a particular blend of neuropeptides that begin to signal the body for it to begin to feel exactly the way it was just thinking. So when you combine a clear intention, a thought, with an emotion, you create what we call a state of being. Thoughts are the language of the brain, and feelings are the language of the body. And how we think and how we feel creates a state of being. So in those cases, your body is your unconscious mind. It does not know the difference between an actual experience in your life that creates an emotion and an emotion that you fabricate by thought alone. So your body in that moment is believing that it's in that future experience in the present moment. And it is that particular blend of thought and feeling that begins to program the autonomic nervous system to begin to respond to a thought. So there have been so many countless cases of anticipatory nausea from, say, for example, chemotherapy. 40 to 50% of patients that are on their way to their first chemotherapy treatment that are told that they're going to get nauseous after their treatment get nauseous on their drive to their first chemotherapy treatment in anticipation of the outcome. So they're selecting that thought, they're emotionally embracing it, and it's their autonomic nervous system that begins to make them nauseous. So my question is, if 40 to 50% of those people can get nauseous in the expectation of some worse thing that could happen to them, can 50% of people get healthy on their drive to work in expectation of something good happening to them?
So, Dr. Joe, if this is something that's occurring and we're not even aware of our beliefs that we're doing this to ourselves, how do we turn it around and accomplish what you're saying to turn it into a positive?
Well, that's a great question, and that's really what the book is about. I think that there's a deprogramming process that has to take place, Joan, because so many people think they need a flu shot because they're told that germs are what create flus, and they're expecting that outcome. So there's a deprogramming process that has to take place. And by the same means, that means that we have to examine our very beliefs that we have about the nature of reality. And a belief is just a thought you keep thinking over and over again until you hardwire it in your brain. And since beliefs are based on past experiences, and experiences stamp neurological networks into place, and the end product of experiences is called emotions, so then the very boundaries of our beliefs have to do with how we feel. So if how you think and how you feel creates a state of being, and you keep thinking and feeling in the same way, redundancy of that cycle conditions the body to become the mind of that particular state. Once the body is the mind, it's a habit, it's a subconscious program. So beliefs are extended states of being, and if you keep thinking and feeling that way, they become unconscious or subconscious states of being. Most people don't even know that they believe certain things. They just accept them because it's part of their very visceral physiology. So in order to change a belief or perception about yourself and your life, you have to make a decision with such firm intention that the amplitude of that decision carries a level of energy that's greater than the hardwired programs in your brain and the emotional addictions in your body. And your body literally has to respond to a new mind. In other words, the choice that you make becomes an experience that you never forget. As an example, the person who moves into a state of religious ecstasy in the Deep South in the United States and drinks strychnine and has no biological effects, or the mother whose child who's caught under the car, and the mother lifts the car and pulls the child out. The mother doesn't say, geez, I ate carbohydrates yesterday and I haven't worked out in 2 weeks. The preacher doesn't say, geez, I wonder if I'm going to be poisoned today. I don't know if I'm going to live or I'm going to die. Their decision is final, and the energy of that decision, energy is the epiphenomenon of matter. So when we begin to change our energy, the body begins to respond, and that's the moment we begin to rewrite the program. That's the moment the bodies and brain are no longer living in the past, in the present. It's the moment the body is living in the future, in the present. And it's that kind of intensity, it's that kind of passion, it's that kind of willfulness that begins to change the very nature of our beliefs.
Joe, for the person, and I'm sure you know this type of person as well as I do, who is innately a negative type of person, who really subconsciously believes that the worst will happen. And then that person decides they listen to what you're saying and what we do on this show, and they decide that they want to make changes. So they start to tell themselves, oh, I'll be happy, or, oh, whatever it is they're telling themselves. But internally, they still have that negative belief at the core. How do they take that first step to really making the deep changes that are necessary?
Oh, this is a really great question, because my work, and I'm certain that your work, is just not about positive thinking, because the way we think and feel, as we were talking earlier, and think and feel and think, it's that cycle, that loop then creates what we call our personalized state of being, our personality. So if a person has had some really rough situations in their past, and those past experiences create certain emotions, and those emotions drive certain thoughts, and those thoughts reaffirm those emotional states, then for the most part, their brain and body are literally living in the past, because the body is the unconscious mind living by the same emotion, believes it's in the same past experience 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. The body literally is in the past, and if you condition the body to become the mind, then the body actually believes it's physiologically in the past. So we can't create a new future by living in the past. So If a person's going to think positively and start changing their thoughts like I'm thinking positively, it doesn't work because 95% of who we are by the time we're 35 years old is a set of memorized behaviors, emotional reactions, beliefs, perceptions, and attitudes that function like a subconscious computer program. So now the person's going to think positively with the 5% of their conscious mind. But for the most part, they've memorized negativity for the last 35 years. That's mind and body in opposition. Or they're going to create their dream board, and they're going to have the pictures of their new car and their new house and their new relationship, but they feel unworthy. Well, they program themselves that way. So mind and body are in opposition. We have to recondition the body to a new mind. So the process of change then, true transformation and true change, what separates the conscious mind from the subconscious mind is the analytical mind. And the whole purpose of the model that we use in the book about meditation, its purpose is to get beyond the analytical mind and to drop into those layers where those programs can exist so we can make true change. So the person who's crossing the river of change, the first thing they have to look at is they have to become conscious of their unconscious thoughts. Write them down. List the thoughts that are slipping by your awareness that you believe every day, but they're not true. You just believe them. What behaviors and habits, what do you say out of your mouth that you want to change? Those are programs. They're habits. Become conscious of your automatic behaviors and habits. And look at the emotions that you manage every day and live by every day, and decide if those emotions actually belong in your future. I think most people, the concept is your personality creates your personal reality. That's it. And your personality is made up of how you think, how you act, and how you feel. So the present personality who's listening created the present personal reality called her life, which means if you want to create a new personal reality, you have to change your personality. You got to begin to think about what you're thinking about and change it. Begin to notice how you're acting and behaving and alter that. And then begin to look at the emotions that keep you anchored to the past and start creating some elevated emotions. As an example, most people try to create a new personal reality as the same personality, and it doesn't work. For example, if you want to be wealthy, a wealthy person will never feel lack, so you can't bring the emotion of lack into your future. A wealthy person doesn't complain about money because they have enough of it. So then you have to begin to change your very thoughts, behaviors, and emotions, and you have to do it enough times that you begin to create a new habit of thought, a new habit of action, and a new elevated emotion. And the new science of neuroplasticity and epigenetics shows that it's absolutely possible to literally change your state of being.
Joe, very quickly before we run out of time, a new study showed that irritable bowel syndrome patients were able to dramatically improve their symptoms by taking placebos. But the interesting part is they knew that they were taking the placebo. How is that possible?
Well, it's very interesting because suggestibility, our level of suggestion, there's a certain percentage of people that accept suggestions without any analysis. Now, the greater the analytical mind, the less suggestibility we have. So a certain percentage of people, even though they know that it's the placebo, are still expecting and hoping with excitement that even though it's a placebo, that they're on some level doing something different and it'll work. And that's how powerful the subconscious and the autonomic nervous system is. And that's just the beginning, because so many people then, once they understand that somebody else has been healed from a therapy or a treatment, or even understand that it is the placebo, those people are hopeful just because they begin to think differently. They begin to act differently. They begin to change their internal chemistry, to change their state of being. And that process, that simple process, we can do on the drive to work. And the point is that if you know it's the placebo, then in your life, maybe it's important enough, if you can change your state of being by thought alone, then affirmation then that you don't need some substance in order to do it. They accepted it without any substance at all, even knowingly that it wasn't even, it was an inert substance.
The book is You Are the Placebo, Making Your Mind Matter by Dr. Joe Dispenza. Joe, thank you so much for joining us today to talk about the power of the mind. Most people really don't understand the power that they have within, and this information that you presented is truly life-changing. So I hope that our listeners will take the time to follow up and learn more. If you'd like to learn more about the topic or about Dr. Joe Dispenza, you can visit his website, drjoedispenza.com. That's DISPENZA.com. Again, Joe, thank you for being here.
Oh, I appreciate it, Joan. Thank you.
We'll be right back. Hi, this is Joan Herman, host of Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Did you know that Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life has a free monthly digital magazine that can be read online or emailed to your inbox? Every month, nationally recognized leaders in their field provide information to educate, inspire, and motivate you. We believe in a holistic approach to life, incorporating mind, body, and spirit. Check out a copy of Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life 24/7. Visit cyacyl.com and be sure to tell your friends. It's time for Medical Minutes. Joining me today is Dr. Michael Gross, the Medical Director of the Active Center for Health and Wellness, the founder of Active Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, and the Orthopedic Director of Sports Medicine at Hackensack University Medical Center in Hackensack, New Jersey. Dr. Gross is the author of the new book, Get Well Soon. Welcome, Dr. Gross. Thanks for joining us today.
Joan, thank you for inviting me.
Dr. Gross, what exactly is sports medicine?
Well, sports medicine is that part of medicine that deals with the treatment of athletes. But it doesn't only encompass treating injured athletes. It has to do with preventing injuries. It has to do with optimizing performance. It does include treating injuries, but it also then includes treating injuries efficiently, and then it includes the safe return to participation, with injury prevention being, again, tantamount in what we do.
Now, we're talking about athletes, but can an average person benefit by going to a sports doctor?
Absolutely, because we're not only talking about elite athletes, we're talking about weekend athletes, we're talking about athletes, we're talking about anybody that does an activity. If somebody injures their shoulder painting the ceiling, is that different than the person who injured their shoulder throwing a ball? So what sports medicine includes is taking those techniques, which we have perfected treating athletes, and using them then to treat injuries that may have arisen from other activities.
Do you have advanced specialized training? I mean, is there something different that you would do than a quote-unquote regular doctor?
Well, sports medicine physicians in orthopedics, for example, we've completed a fellowship or additional training in sports medicine, and that involves training in specific surgery. It involves treating injured athletes. It involves covering athletic events. So to honestly call yourself a sports medicine physician, you should have additional training. In addition, it means staying active in the sports community. It means covering high school football games. It means treating injured athletes on any level. So it's not only about training, but it's about dedicating yourself to that specialty.
Where can a person find a sports medicine physician, and what should someone look for when making the selection?
Well, I think, we've all gotten used to using the internet. So certainly when you research your doctor, you can check their credentials. You can see if they've done a fellowship. In orthopedics, for example, you can be board certified in orthopedic surgery with additional certification in sports medicine. So you can check those sort of credentials to see what sort of training that your doctor has. You can also see what activities they participate in that qualifies them to continue to call themselves a sports medicine doctor. Do they cover local high schools or professional teams or college teams? Have they written articles on the subject? And all those things are combined to help you evaluate your doctor.
Dr. Gross, thank you so much for spending time with us today. If our listeners would like to get more information, you can visit his website, activeorthopedics.com. And if you'd like to learn more about achieving true wellness in your life, get a copy of Dr. Gross's book, Get Well Soon, which is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Thank you again, Dr. Gross.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be right back.
What is cloud computing? Hi, I'm Rafi Jimgochin from Triado Networks, a small business computer support company in northern New Jersey. Cloud computing provides computation, software, data access, and data storage services that do not require the end user to know where the equipment is or the configuration of that equipment. Just like your electrical system, you can turn on the lights when you need them without needing to know how the power is generated at the plant or delivered to you. Cloud computing can provide you lower costs by eliminating computer upgrades. You can access your desktop or applications from anywhere and from any device. Backup and disaster recovery is automatic. When planned correctly, it's built in. It's faster, sometimes cheaper, and easier to add new employees or contractors when you need them and take them off when they're done. You don't have to own the systems that are being used, nor do you have the responsibility to keeping you up to date. However, keep in mind there are some catches. If the internet is down, you can't access your information. Businesses will typically use 2 internet connections, or you can try to find a local coffee shop. You may not feel comfortable leaving your data on systems you don't own. In fact, many businesses cannot due to regulation or compliance. It's a valid concern, and before you use a cloud provider, find out where they're storing your data, how it's protected, who has access to it, and very important, how you can get it back if you want it. Certain applications don't lend themselves to cloud computing, like computer-aided drafting or long-form video editing, but those numbers are diminishing. Remember, when your technology isn't working, your business isn't either. For more information, visit triadanet.com. That's TRIADANET.com.
This is William J. Ward, Managing Partner with attorney Ed V. Castro, the law firm of Carlin & Ward in Florham Park, New Jersey, following up on last month's topic, Why You Need a Will, and discussing another essential estate planning tool, the Power of Attorney, or POA.
With a power of attorney, you authorize someone to act as your agent or attorney in fact. The person doesn't have to be an attorney, but they must be willing and able to step into your shoes, legally speaking.
Your agent can sign checks and tax returns, enter into contracts, deposit or withdraw funds, even run a business. However, the type of POA governs the scope of the powers.
A simple power of attorney is temporary and used for a specific task or time period. The powers end when the purpose is completed. So if you'll be away during your real estate closing, a simple POA permits your agent to act on your behalf.
The durable power of attorney is effective immediately unless you specify that its use is triggered only when you become incapacitated. Once activated, your agent can manage all your financial affairs. Durable powers end if you revoke them or a court invalidates the document. After your death, the powers terminate and your will governs your estate.
Contact us to draft a power of attorney. Call 973-377-3350 or visit us online at carlinward.com.
We all want to live happy, productive lives, but sometimes we just need a little help. Our Coach on Call experts provide strategies to help you live your best life now. Joining me today is Louis Soto Jr., a transformational life coach, personal trainer, speaker, and author of the book, Awaken to the Brand New You, The Path to Reinventing Oneself. Louis is the founder of New Life Living. Welcome, Louis. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi, Joan. Thank you for allowing me to be on the show.
Louis, more and more we're hearing about people reinventing themselves. What does this mean? What does it mean to reinvent oneself?
To reinvent oneself means that you have to reconstruct who you used to be to who you want to become.
Does reinvention also mean transformation?
It's part of a transformational process because you have to let go of your habitual way, of the way you used to be, and then start to transform your beliefs, your attitudes, your behavior, and the values that you used to live up to.
So, Louis, how can someone begin the process of reinvention? What strategies do you offer to get someone started?
The first thing that a person needs to do is to decide that they're tired of repeating the same patterns over and over again, and start to be aware of the stuff that they do from an unconscious realm. So the meditation will give a person the awareness, so then they can start to become more present in their lives and start breaking negative behaviors that are not allowing them to move forward in their life.
Louis, thank you for joining us today. If you'd like to get more information about Louis or this topic, you can visit his website, newlifeliving.org, and be sure to get a copy of Louis's book, Awaken to the Brand New You. Thank you for joining us today. We hope you found the show informative. At Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life, we believe that knowledge is power. Take what you've learned, apply it, and live your best life now. Remember that the information provided are the opinions of our guests and should never replace the advice of a professional who knows your personal situation. If you'd like more information, visit our website, cyacyl.com. That stands for Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. While on the site, listen to past shows on demand, read the digital magazine, take part in the book club, and be sure to follow the show on Facebook and Twitter. Until next time, this is Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in.